All right, everyone, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So we had the FOMC here today, and you guys now understand what I mean when I say don't make me tap the sign. So I've been saying this all week long, and I've said very extensively yesterday. In fact, did the whole, pretty much half the live stream I spent saying like, yeah, I don't think we're going to get a trend move. I don't think it's worth chasing a trend move here. And that is exactly what happened here. We had a big reaction to the 50 basis point cut. If you haven't heard by now, in case you're living under a rock, the Fed is cutting by 50. And obviously we had this big move, no follow through here. And this is kind of what I said on Monday. We may even close flat for the week. We'll see. Tomorrow, I think we'll get, the market should be a little bit more unpinned here, but, we could see it in the trading room here. We had a big pop, and we never really gave up, dealers never really gave up 562 to 565 on the spiders, and we just kind of compressed and pinned into that. So again, no follow through here, and again, tricks, traps, frustration, and hopefully some of what I said earlier this week kind of helped out. I sat on my hands almost the entire afternoon. We did get one scalp on NQ, and it worked out pretty nicely. And that's really all that's necessary. I think a lot of traders struggle with this. Over trading, it's probably the biggest thing that most traders do. The reason why they're not profitable is, look, there's 250 trading days in the year. When the market's not doing what you think it's going to do, stop forcing it. And that is a kind of what's going on right now. Why did I know that was going to happen? Because on Monday, there was no consensus of 50 to 25. And they just wouldn't shut up about it. Oh, it's 50, it's 25, it's 50, it's 25. That tells me that whatever the first reaction is, half the market's going to be wrong, right? So there's going to be a massive shift here. And then those hedges are going to come off, and then it's going to be, well, is it 50 points bearish or is it bullish, right? Because we can have that debate. I would generally say it's bearish, but it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is the market's reaction. So again, don't take the big brain macro trades, because those are going to hurt you. All right. But anyway, markets are holding up right now, basically flat to lower. Q's at down 40 basis points right here. Volatility is down for the day on the VIXY, but it has come back off of the lows. Semiconductors definitely weak. Nvidia down 1.7%. And let me know in the comments, guys, how is this possible? How could yields possibly be higher today? It's almost as if somebody was talking about this for 2 weeks, saying that if we sold off into the FOMC, we were likely going to get a rebound. And you can see here the ZB taking a pretty good hit. TLT down 1 1/4. That's a big move for TLT. What else is getting hit here? Gold. Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? I said last week, the only thing I don't like about gold here is you're like kind of just pumping into FOMC. Not really the best setup here. And that is coming back in. What else had a really good bounce? Dollar index, sweep of the low and closing green. Just for good measure, yen as well. Sweep of the low, closing green. Look at this beautiful RSI divergence here on the yen. That is beautiful, or dollar yen rather. Even though, we were back here at the same level that we were on August 5th, nobody was whining about the carry trade then. It's almost as if it was leveraged short vol all along, but that's a whole nother can of worms. All right, anyway, so let's talk about the indices here. Almost kind of like a pseudo triple top, but we'll call it double top. Good pullback, right? I still think there's a pretty good amount of support. This is just intraday at about 55, 50 to 60. That's going to be 555 SPY. I mentioned that earlier this morning. That may change in the overnight. I talked to you guys about what was the level I gave you yesterday and all week long. So, there's the closing bell, by the way. 570, right? Probably not going to get through that. So 568, 69, they didn't want it happening. So we're backing off of that. And again, who knows? Maybe they can pump it back up there and try to break it tomorrow. They could roll those hedges off. They did move some of the charm levels from what I saw a little bit higher, but they could be compressing now. This is kind of the thing that we won't know until after the closing prints come in. But either way, yeah, 550 would be kind of max downside, I think, for this week. So right in that 5,500 handle there on SPX. But great technicals. I mean, you know, right up into double top, little overbought. We are up, you know, 300 points in a few days, and good pullback. But this is kind of how long pattern. We were talking about this in the live stream yesterday about how these like long-term patterns, long-term, but like ascending kind of like triangles with a double top pattern. Here, let me just show you. RSP, losing my tongue here. Been a long week already, but you got the double top, right? It almost looks exactly like, right, what the spiders kind of look like, just kind of smaller. But everybody wants that trend move, right? Because when you get it, you know it's going to take you to the promised land. So it's hard for them to break out. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you got to get shaken out. Because everybody wants to jump on that move, and shorts get stopped out, and you get that kind of whipsaw. So again, this isn't necessarily bearish here. Until, you know, we get a sell signal, we get a high volume sell, then it can be bearish. I don't care what, you know, historically rate cuts have done. I don't care what they did in the 70s, 80s, 90s, or in 2007, or like everybody's saying, this is the exact repeat of '07. Well, maybe it is, but in the near term, market doesn't need to do any of that stuff. And right now, you know, we're into that kind of double top. We could easily just pull back here and then go make another higher low. So be aware of that stuff. Short term, again, total chop fest and really indecision. We'll see if we get a trend move tomorrow. You know, if we get a gap, we'll probably go in that direction for the, you know, most of the day, I would think. But again, chasing this on either side this week was a fool's errand here. So we'll have to see a little bit more. Again, Qs, again, we could pull back here, right? That kind of supports what we were just looking at on SPY, right? We run right into the trend line. You know, maybe we go back down here and then we go up. Or we could break bear, right? There's nothing to say that can't happen either. So right now, market still can go either way here. IWM, I mean, this was a real, this is buy the rumor, sell the news. Look at the big run up here, and specifically I'm saying on KRE. I mentioned this earlier this week. I mean, they were trying to front run this thing early on, front run the 50 basis point cut, that is. But all the way up to 225, big resistance there, and it was unable to continue. So I think this will probably close the week around 220, which is where it's at right now, unless something changes. But yeah, Dow finishing negative. Interesting. I think that was, yeah, so Dow down negative. IWM did finish green. It was up a couple pennies, but Dow touching 420. Good outside reversal here. Again, no real problems, though. Not seeing like heavy volume, right? Which is interesting because it's an FOMC day. We'd think we'd have good volume, but 55 million shares, not a lot. So pretty thin tape. Futures weren't even that. Yeah, futures wasn't even that high in volume either. SMH, again, down 1% again. Same wedge as the Qs. You could make case you got a bull inside bar, though. I prefer it to be above the moving averages when I see them, but it sits there and you're in the wedge. So it's going to be pretty, and again, these wedges too, kind of like the double tops. Like a lot of the time you'll peak above, everybody wants to jump on, and then it's got to do another kind of leg. So they can be tricky. They're simple, but they resolve a little trickier. IGV down just under 1% here today. You know, you guys know I like this. It's got kind of a triple top here, but this is still really firm. So IGV still acting well. Dow transports were green on the day. Again, 16.2. That was the level we talked about yesterday. And how many times is this thing going to hit? The good news is you got higher lows, right? So each time you hit it, you're going, the sellers are having a harder time keeping it down, right? It's like a beach ball. So maybe in the near term, they will like those rate cuts. It's possible. Speaking of rates, so we'll take a look at that. And start with the twos as always, but again, To me, it's all about positioning here, and I think the market was way off sides. I mean, like, it's not as if the Fed wasn't going to cut rates. And you look at it's the dollar saying the same thing, dollar yen, gold, all kind of confirming. It's no surprise that we're bouncing here. And I think the long end has a little bit more legs potentially. Why? A, because of positioning. B, you could make a case now that growth is going to be stimulated. Again, I'm not saying that will happen, but that's an argument that can be made. So divergence there, 10s and 30s, looking pretty strong, and 10 back above 3.7. So another sweep of the lows and another failure. Right, rate cuts should be bearish yields, right? And they're going up. XHB here down 23 cents. Big tail candle on volume. Maybe finally a little distribution. Not much, but a little top heavy here. But XHB still holding up. We'll see what it does by the end of the week. VNQ again rallied into the 618 into a volatility event. It's pulling back. No surprise. So I would actually say that this can probably pull back now. You know, maybe even into that 94 area again. It's had a really nice run though. XLF was interesting. So XLF finished down 1/3%. One stock I definitely did not like was JP Morgan. And you can see here, we had the big euphoric move. It dumped out pretty good. It was down 1% at one point today. And that was with KRE up, you know, like however much it was, you know, 2% or whatever. So JPM has had some bear consolidation after that outside move with volume. Might be something wrong with JPM here. You do have the higher lows. That's your positive. You're above the 100. And it could curl back up, but that starts to continue down. That's got a date with, you know, 190 and that 200 MA again. But XLF again down today, but again, it's just off of all-time highs. We'll leave it. We're not going to beat it up too much for that. But JPM, a little bit of a concern if it can't firm up. Regionals holding up, broker-dealers new all-time highs. They keep making money because you guys keep trying to chase these trend moves. Not you guys, but most people. All right, oil here down 92 cents. Let me just check because I think that might not be adjusted right. Okay, so it was down. Yeah, okay, so it did finish down. Just making sure that contract was correct. But yeah, we went up right back into the 20 MA and back below 70. So 70 is a level for oil to get through. We'll see. It does have room for higher lows now. So it can change this dynamic with a higher low and then back above 70 or 70.77. Good bounce there for oil. We'll see if that can continue. XLE green, but it came way off the highs. But I like how you rebounded nicely after breaking below 87. XOP still struggling to get above the 20. Again, that does have room for higher lows as well as does OIH. So energy is intriguing here, especially going into the end of the year. But nothing to do yet. But they have firmed up. CCJ flat. Again, could be working on a flag here. So possible W kind of V-ish pattern. But no resolution yet. NM, essentially the same thing. And NJ. Nat gas was down today, but as long as it's in this range here, this could be considered a little consolidation pattern or a move to 250. Yeah, so below 228 would be concerning. Definitely below 223 on a close. But right now it's fine as long as it's in this range. Dollar we talked about, very nice, just sucked in the shorts and then popped right back up. Made new 52-week lows too. Gold again, buy the rumor, sell the news, right? Little volume coming in there too. So we'll see if that follows through tomorrow. Silver down 2%. Good outside move. Again, these trend lines are tricky. Everybody sees them, right? So when they bid above, a lot of people like to jump on a little ahead of time. Big volume on the sell, but it did bounce back up off 30. A close below 30 on the weekly tells me it probably needs to do some more backing. And filling, platinum continuing to back off. Pierced 1,000. and then dip below. And then palladium here finally, we talked about this level right here that we had pierced, and it did get a good outside move again. It also rallied into FOMC. So not a surprise here to see that back off. Copper finishing flat, but it did make a higher high though. So you now have higher highs and higher lows on copper daily. And I want to say weekly too. Yeah. So copper holding up. Might need to do a little bit of a consolidation, but you know, if it can push up. Another thing, let me get rid of this wedge. We don't need this anymore. Here's the bear look. Right? That would be kind of your bear setup, down move, and then bear flag. So, but I don't really have a bias on it one way or the other here. Bitcoin holding up fine. Bull inside bar, 1, 2, 3, pullback, pop, inside day, doji. That actually looks fine. I think Bitcoin honestly looks a little bit better than SPX right now. In terms of the pattern here, like looking at the spiders, it's just ramped up into a double top. And Bitcoin actually has like a decent bull pattern there. But again, no changes on that on the bigger time frames. Again, we'll see what we get tomorrow. See if it looks like the future's up a little bit here in the after hours. But we'll see if they end up gapping this up or down. I think we could get a trend tomorrow. But again, that's why we want to avoid the noise here. And again, that the fact that they were arguing over which rate cut it was going to be told me this is probably not going to resolve right away. And so far that was right. We'll see 555 could be a little support tomorrow. And if they really want some downside, you know, the 50 MA right in that 550 area on the spider lines up around 5,500, 5520 or so on SPX. Also watching the wedge on the Qs. 480 is still some resistance, probably until Friday, but we'll see. They may pull them off here, and you know, we'll see if they give us a trend tomorrow and give us a little bit more resolution. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will see you guys all tomorrow.